that.
For nearly 50 years, ABBA have been one of the biggest bands in the world. Now the Super Troopers are back with a brand new album and tour.
Yeah, and I sat down with tour producers Svana Gisler and Ludwig Anderson to hear all about ABBA Voyage. Ludwig and Svana, great to have you both on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Great to be here.
So, Ludwig, your dad is Benny. Is it a challenge to work with him when he's kind of the boss of the group?
We've always had a very good relationship, both on a private level and a professional level, and we've been doing stuff together for the past 15 years. And it's basically our life. So it's just really nice and highly functional. I mean, of course, we could go into deeper sort of Freudian analytics of this, but I don't think we have time for that.
Svana, let me bring you in. Tell me about Voyage.
Well, Voyage is the clue is in the name. It's been a journey that we've been on for almost 5 years now.
So you had ABBA in these motion cap suits, and it's going to be AI. This is not hologram technology. So explain to me what it is.
Well, I think you were on to something there when we were talking about the actual motion capture process, which is at the heart of this. And that is that Frida, Agneta, and Benny and Bjorn were dressed up in these ridiculous-looking motion capture overalls. And they were on a stage for 5 weeks, 8 hours a day, performing this concert. And we, together with Industrial Light and Magic, captured every single little detail of that performance to really sort of suck their soul into the machine, if you will. And that data or that performance capture is then what's going to happen in our purposely built arena. That we've built a space to specifically house this concert.
Svana, I've heard you say that Voyage is going to be an immersive experience. So when fans go in, what can they expect?
Well,
Oh my God, is there a dog? Who's this?
this is Luna.
This is Luna.
She's the real boss of this entire operation.
I'll have questions for Luna in a minute.
So we had to build the space because we had to create a third dimension. There's the physical space that we are sitting in here now, and then you are in a digital space on a screen opposite us, and it's the boundary, the space between you here now and us becomes the third dimension. And it's that space that we wanted to pull ABBA into and pull the audience into. And in order to create that space, we needed our own building.
Yeah, it sounds so exciting. Well, Ludwig, what do ABBA think about this? Are they as excited?
Nothing with ABBA ever happens unless they are excited about it. I mean, there's a reason they've done nothing for 40 years. So this would not have been possible hadn't it been for their complete emotional, intellectual and physical involvement in the project.
Svana, you've worked with so many incredible people, Jay-Z, Beyonce, David Bowie, but then there's another level when you're working with ABBA. Were you hesitant to take on this project?
Weirdly enough, I wasn't hesitant because I had promised myself and everyone around me that I was never going to do another music project. I was going to go and do TV series and films. And very ceremoniously told my family, friends and colleagues that that's what was happening. And then literally 6 months later, I get the phone call and it was an incredibly easy decision. It was, well, if I'm gonna work with anybody else, it's gonna be them. And here I am 4.5 years later, having done no TV series and no movies.
So when ABBA are there, they're in the motion cap suits, they're performing for you, you're filming them. Is there a moment, Ludwig, or both of you, where you think, wow, this is really happening?
Yes, there was. And you're right, this is somehow part of my life. So of course, we're walking around there, I'm walking around there in this motion capture studio, and we're busy, we're working. Everyone is working, we're 150 people in there doing our job. So you're detached in a sense from what's happening. But there was a moment when, and I'm pretty sure it was during The Winner Takes It All, when something happened. Something happened in the whole room and everyone just stopped. And, I think everyone suddenly realized, wait, what are we doing here? We're watching ABBA and we're watching Agneta singing her heart out. That was a magical moment and quite powerful. But I think it was for all of us. And everything just stopped, which was kind of that was really beautiful.
Ludwig, you mentioned growing up post ABBA. Your dad and Bjorn went on to do so many other things as well. But did you know how influential your dad was growing up?
My parents went to work every day at 9 and came back at 5. My father from the supermarket with stuff to make dinner. I mean, he's a normal guy. And so is my mother. So my childhood was a normal one. Abnormal in the sense that my father worked with music, which is a nice thing to grow up around. He's been a hard-working man his whole life. There was no pop star glamour around my house, and there still isn't.
What an honor to speak to both of you.
Oh, hi!
Here's our production assistant. Do you want to come?
Wait, what?
A production assistant who's late for work. What time do you call this?
What's going on? What's going on?
I'm sorry. The traffic was bad.
Well, you should leave earlier.
I know. I'm so sorry. Can I keep my job, though?
You'll choose to make extra coffees today.
We were just in the middle of an interview, but please, come and join us. I almost didn't recognize you because you weren't wearing the mocap suit.
No, it's, I know, nobody recognizes me anymore.
Well, Bjorn, tell me what it's like working with these two.
Yeah, it's been a great joy, obviously, to work with those two. And they have given so much of themselves and are giving so much of themselves. They're totally immersed in this project.
The magic of the four of you getting back together for the first time, did it feel like 40 years had never happened?
It really did. It was. It just took a few seconds, and you know, it was so familiar. Everything, the mixing console, the control room, the environment was totally the same as it had been 40 years ago. And then the four of us in that room, it felt, you know, yeah, like yesterday.
First it was just 2 songs. And then we said, well, maybe we should do, I don't know, a few others. What do you say, girls? And they say, yeah.
I've been speaking to these two incredible creators about this project. So when the idea of Voyage and new music came up, did you feel a lot of pressure going back into the studio?
It was totally the opposite, no pressure whatsoever. We called the ladies and they said, yeah, they were up to singing again. And we gathered in the studio with a couple of songs that they'd heard before. And knowing that we were there just to, you know, try it out. And if it didn't sound right, if we weren't pleased with, you know, what we heard, then we'd walk out of that studio and say, well, yeah, it was worth a try. It just so happened that once we started recording and they started to sing, it sounded so much ABBA, and it sounded so good that, you know, eventually it became an album.
ABBA has such a special place in Australia's heart. Do you love that Aussies feel like that they discovered you?
Yeah, because it's true. You know, I keep saying that, but it's actually true that without Australia, we wouldn't be sitting here today. If Australia hadn't reinvented, as it were, ABBA with SOS and Mamma Mia. The guys here in London, they thought this is a corpse. It's not supposed to be moving. It's a Eurovision winner. It's a one-hit wonder. So they had discarded us more or less. But the Australians hadn't.
Hello, Sydney!
It's an incredible legacy that you guys have. My son is learning how to play Dancing Queen on the piano right now. So do you find that younger generations are discovering ABBA more and more?
Oh yeah, right now it's absolutely incredible, the reactions on TikTok and YouTube.
Give me a man at midnight. Want somebody help me chase the shadows.
And the streaming audience, the biggest streaming audience is between 15 and 23, that's what I hear.
That's true.
The music is timeless. I mean, that's what's so great about Voyage. So will you be in the audience on opening night? I mean, I know you're going to kind of be on stage too.
We'll be in the audience. I can promise you that. I'm not going to miss that.
What an absolute pleasure to speak to all three of you. We cannot wait for Voyage. Thank you all very much.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So good.
Honestly, it was a pinch yourself moment when it happened. I could not believe it. So you can go see ABBA Voyage in London. That is the big installation with the AI. But if you want, right now, ABBA's new album, Voyage, is out now, and it is an absolute banger. What a thrill that was.
Yeah, great interview. And cross fingers that at some point the tour, they can bring it here.
Well, it's called Voyage. You think it could travel?
Yeah, they'll take the journey across the ocean.